All right. These are some of my favorite conversations that I ever have. And I hear all kinds of things about what it takes to be a real estate agent, what works, what doesn't work, the biggest myths and questions in real estate. So we're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk about the biggest myths in real estate and some questions that I hear all the time. So here's one. I heard this from so many people that are outside the industry, and then so many people that are thinking about getting in the industry. It's easy to sell real estate. I see Susie over here with her big car, and I see Jim over here all the time in his suit and tie, and I see all of these people doing this and that and that. And that. You know, here's the reality of what it is. There's a perception out there about real estate. And that's probably why there are so many people in it. You know, I can tell you in my area, there are about 7,300 licensed realtors that are members of the Board of Realtors. And I'm sure that yours is very similar, if not more, depending on where you are. The challenge with that is probably about 6,000 of them don't sell a damn thing, and they need to go away because they're not willing to do the work, not willing to do what it takes. It was $1,000 or less to get into it. It was a test that they had to study to take the test. And if you know how to take a test, then you can figure that one out pretty well because it has nothing to do with selling real estate. And they got into the business because I said, oh gosh, I see all these people doing it. I can sell a house. It's going to be easy to sell a house. The reality is when we get into it, it's not easy. It's very simple. It is a simple business that if you do the basics and you do the things that it takes to have the right habits, to make the contacts, to follow the process and the steps to sell, and to really do this business right, you can have an unlimited income. It is such an amazing opportunity for what it takes to get into it. 60 hours, 120 hours of a class time that you can probably do online. You take a test, you get fingerprints, and you get your license, and you join the board in a company, and you go. From that point forward, guys, it's up to you to make it work. But keep in mind, it's not easy. It is very, very simple in what works and what doesn't, but it's not easy. So remember that as you go through your career, and you'll rock and roll if you do. I hear this one a lot. Oh, that won't work in my area. As a matter of fact, I heard that. So a guy's having a conversation with FSBOs and talking about the for sale by owners and how I love for sale by owners. And quite frankly, I think that they are very simple to work if you'll go do the work. And I converted 50% of the ones that I talked to over my process. And he said, oh, that's not going to work in my area. And we go through it, and well, I can't go and knock on a door. I can't do that. I can't knock on a door. Well, the funny thing is what he said, because he lives in a condo area, right? He lives in New York City. Well, I can't do that. Well, I didn't knock on the doors necessarily. I would every once in a while if I was driving by a house, I saw the sign that I hadn't seen before and I had time to do it. But I wasn't knocking on the doors anyway. I was making the phone calls. So the key is no, it has nothing to do with it will or won't work in my area. It's all about you aren't willing to do it correctly or master the process. Open houses work. For sale by owners work. Expireds and withdrawals work. So many things work, and they work so well if you're willing to master the process, to be a student of the process, to take the action and do what's necessary to do it. And that's the big question. The question comes down to, are you willing to do what it takes to succeed? Most agents aren't. That's why, we talk about the 80-20 principle, the Pareto principle. And in real estate, it's more like a 95-5, a 90-10. Some people I've even heard say it's a 97-3. Guys, there are people out there selling $10 million, $100 million, $350 million a year. Shoot, there's $1 billion salesperson in a year. If those people can do it, what's the difference between them and you? It's that they're willing to do what it takes to actually make it succeed and make real estate truly into the life of their dreams. It also comes down to, are you willing to listen? Are you willing to listen and work on your skills? Are you willing to practice, put in the hours to master the process? You know, it's interesting. I've watched my daughter over the past few years, and she got into a sport, and over the past, you know, and she got into it and she was mediocre, and she said, "Oh, Dad, you know, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's what I want to do. I don't know, you know." And then all of a sudden one day, you know, a couple of kids said, "Oh, you're not going to do it. You're not going to make this into anything at all." And it's rifle, by the way. She's a shooter. She shoots Olympic air rifle and Olympic small bore. And it's funny to look back on that, because it was, you know, 3 years ago when they told her this, about this time of year, as a matter of fact. And then over the next process of 30 days, she practiced for 2 to 3 hours a day, every single day after school. She went from non-scoring on her team to #1 on the team, which of course caused more problems because she wasn't the chosen one on the team and wasn't the favorite. So that caused a little bit more animosity on there. Long story short, over the past 3 years, I have watched her focus and practice. She practiced for, at beginning, 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day. We ended up moving to Colorado Springs because that's what it would take to have her get to her dream, and that's to go to the Olympics. She has focused on practicing, and thousands of rounds of pulling a trigger. She only actually gets to compete in the process maybe once a month. Before she started college, now it's once a week, which is great. But to put in 6 or 7 hours a day practicing for one time a month to be able to actually compete. Guys, think about that in real estate. If you practiced your scripts and dialogues, if you practiced your modeling and mirroring, how to speak with people, how to use the process, and how to generate leads, how to convert leads, all of these things, if you practice that for, shoot, I don't know, how about an hour a day, right? And then at the end of the week, you've got 6 or 7 hours of practice in. Can you imagine how good you're going to be if you're willing to do the work and work on the skills? Most agents aren't. Again, it goes back to the 95-5 principle, the 90-10 principle, which is Pareto principle, is actually 80-20, but we're going to use that for real estate. It's the 95-5. These people that are at that level, that 5% that are making 95% of the commissions and the income out there, that are getting 7-8% on whatever commission or more that I know of, that are getting fees, that are not losing deals, that are converting in the process, they are willing to listen and work on their skills. And the biggest thing, they're willing to take action to achieve their goals. Are you willing to take the action to achieve your goals? If you are, and if you're willing to do these things, then you will succeed, and you will succeed in a massive, massive way. So I hear this, it matters what company I'm with. Here's the truth. Your company is not responsible for providing you leads. I hear that. Oh, how many leads are they going to provide? Well, not a damn one. That's your responsibility. You're a 1099 person. You're an independent contractor. That would be a job. If they were providing you with leads and all of these different things, guys, they'd be having you a salary and then taking way, way over what the commission split that they are, and you'd probably be making about 20 grand a year. So they're not responsible for providing you leads. They're not responsible for your success. You are. You are 100% responsible for your success or failure. And the fastest that you accept that and take responsibility for that, the faster you're going to be successful and become a rock star agent. You are what matters, not your company. It is you. You are an independent company in and of itself because you're a 1099 person. They're not responsible for your advertising, your marketing, and all those kind of things. Yeah, some companies offer that, but they take percentages to do that. So they're paid for that. When you master these things, then you become the value, not anything else. You become the value. I also hear too, oh, that company offers this, this, this. They've got all kinds of different things that they're going to do. Guys, the grass is not greener on the other side of the fence. The grass is greener where you decide to water it and where you decide to make it green and use the fertilizer, which is skills training, scripts, dialogues, all of those different things. Grass is greener where you choose it to be greener and choose to water it and make sure that it's taken care of. It's not greener on the other side of the fence. So if you've failed at one company, it's your fault. It's not the company's fault. And you're not going to have any other success at another company until you realize that and take responsibility. So on that subject, I also hear too, how do I pick a company? If there was a perfect company and a best company, all the top agents would be there. They're not, and that's a fact. All the signs would be the same. They're not, and that's a fact. So ask yourself 2 questions as you evaluate which company that you want to go with, and I don't care which one it is. You have to ask yourself 2 questions. Number 1, what or who is the company's focus? What do I mean by that? Is their focus getting as much money from you as possible, or is their focus helping you succeed and get to another level and build a business and have a life that you really want and achieve your dreams? And you can tell the difference. You can absolutely tell the difference in what they are. Is their ego in the way, or is it you that's the focus? Are they building your brand? Is their client and their customer you, or is it something else that's out there, or somebody else out there, or the public that's out there? If it's you, then that's at least one checkbox. The second piece is this: who are the people that I will surround myself with if I choose to go with that company? That's critical, because you are going to either come up to their level or go down to their level. They're going to pull you up if they're good. They're going to pull you down if they are bad, and if they are questionable as well. So evaluate the people, surround yourself with the people that and the agents that are doing what you want to do and that you want to emulate. If they're not there and you can't do that, then you need to really question that piece of the puzzle as well, because how and who you surround yourself with is just about one of the most important things that you'll ever make decisions on in your life. I hear this one as well. I need to get designations, right? Well, here's the piece of this. The public doesn't care about your alphabet soup. They don't know what CRS, GRI, ABC, DEF, XYZ is on the end of your name. The piece of that too is they just don't know. They don't care about the letters after your name. What they care about is the #1 radio station for them in the world, WIIFM. What's in it for me? They care about your knowledge, your effort, your skill, the things that you're doing out there truly to build a business, to be experts for them, to provide them the absolute opportunity to achieve their dreams and things as well. And that's critical too. All right. So Sam at the water fountain told me this. Sam did this. Sally told me this. This is going to work here. I should do this. I got a phone call and they said it's the best thing in the world to do that. Here's the big piece, and this goes back to one of the things we brought up a little while ago. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, period. Absolute period, end of story. You look at the 5 people that you're with, your circle that is you spend the most time with. What do they do fitness-wise? What do they eat? What do they drink? What do they do athletically? What is their income? What are their outlooks? What's their political affiliation? All of those different things. Guys, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you hang out with losers, well, there you go. There is an agent that has a $1 billion business right now. In his last years of high school and his last teenage years, he was 100 pounds overweight and he was involved in drugs big time. He had a big tragic occurrence one day that made him say, this is not what I want to do. The first thing he did is change who he hung out with. 12 years later, he's got a $1 billion real estate business. 12 years. It's because he looked at who he was instead of going down that route, because he could be dead. He could be beside the road. He could be homeless wherever it is right now. Instead, he's a role model. He is a massive, massive success because he surrounded himself with people that will pull him up and help him get up instead of trying to keep them down. Because here's what happens. When you get the wrong people around you, and they're not successful. They want you to be right there with them. They want you to commiserate with them. They want to complain with you. They want to whine. They want to talk about all the things that aren't going right and that are just not working for them in their lives, and they will bring you down. If you hang out with the different people, they're talking about their successes. They're talking about how many homes they sold, what they did with their kids or their families, how many vacations they went on. They're talking about the lifestyle that you're probably thinking about, the dream cars, the whatever it happens to be. Those are the people that you want to surround yourself with. Don't surround yourself with the people that are hanging out at your water fountain in your office, in your market center, and whatever happens to be, the ones that are always going to the the free food because somebody brought donuts and bagels, so they showed up for that, but they never do any of those things. If you notice something, here's what's funny. Actually went to my wife and I went out last night to have dinner, and we noticed that it was just packed in there. And we asked what it was, and we started seeing some of the name tags, and it's a realtor event. Here's what I noticed. There was not one top producing realtor from the area at that social happy hour after work, because they don't go. That's not who they hang out with. They hang out with other top producers and other people, even if it's not in your area, around the country. Watch and protect your circle. That is a massive, massive thing that will change your life immediately. Why do you think Warren Buffett and Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos hang out together? Duh, right? Think about that. Do the same thing. Top grade who you hang out with. Sometimes one of the most important things is to look at the family and friends that you're with. Sometimes you got to cut family off, and that's difficult, but you don't have to say, oh, I can't talk to you anymore. You just back away and you make sure that you limit your time spent around those people. I've had to do it as well, and it's changed things tremendously when you do that. So here's a big question. It's you. Are you willing to do what it takes? Are you willing to be coachable? Are you willing to practice? Are you willing to be held accountable? Are you willing to leave your ego at the door, which is one of the biggest challenges? Are you willing to do what it takes to be successful? If you are willing to do what it takes and you are ready, then you are on your way to being a rock star agent, and you absolutely will get there.